Live? Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming to Lightworkers Secret to Success. And you have Pamela and myself, the dynamic duo that comes and we bring you card readings. Today we have Adam and Rebecca here with us. There's been a lot of energies lately. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, contacting me, letting me know that they've been extremely tired and haven't really been wanting to commit to a lot of things lately. Just the energy overall has been very overwhelming. And even though we want to do these major things in our businesses and having, helping other people, the issue is that we've been drained ourselves. So how do we do that? So we have a card today that I'm pulling from Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light. These are the cards that wanted to come out today to be read. And I have a little tickle in my throat. So, oh, this is so funny. I'm like shuffling, and nothing was coming out. And all of a sudden I moved the cards barely and one like popped out. So this is the one that's so exciting. All right, so Melchizedek, I think that's how you say it. It's for higher learning. And so I know we've all been asking ourselves and beating our head against the brick wall, like, how do we do this? How do we do this? One thing that Rebecca, Adam, Pamela, and I always do is we create a mastermind where the mastermind shows up when we're trying to solve a problem. And it is about higher learning. Sometimes you have to go to others and seek for information. So this one says, you have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. So here's the card. Look at that. Look at that beautiful angel. So he's the angel of higher learning. So let's just go in and see what else he has to say for us. Now, this is for the collective, okay? All right, let's see if I can get some light on here. Okay, so it's Melchizedek is a high priest who mentioned in the Bible's book of Genesis and many other sources too. He is here to assist the earth through the ascension process. Who else has been feeling the ascension symptoms lately? Like, I mean, I'm constantly having like headaches and just, constant crown chakra energy going on. Okay, so he's here to help with the ascension process, which is basically moving everyone and everything back to the state of love and harmony. He appears with bright light around him and a long white beard to match his ancient high priest ways. And it is said to have his own order of light-filled priests who are able to help spiritual people develop their gifts and qualities. As he works on a higher energetic level, he can connect with them through sacred geometry, which you see in this card was the sacred geometry behind him. So sacred geometry, and by focusing on the ancient star-shaped symbols. So here's the extended message for us and for the collective. You have learned so much to this point and are learning more every day. You are recognizing all the great lessons your experiences and challenges have brought to you and are preparing for a transition or inner ascension where you will move beyond another level of fear and into the inner sanctum of your heart and soul. Beware of patterns, ancient symbols and signs being sent to you from the universe. There is a sense that you are now able to focus in a new way and offer greater light to the world. Melchizedek and his order are with you now, leading you towards spiritual wisdom. Meditate and connect with their light. I don't know about you guys, but I personally have had so many people reach out to me and said, Amanda, we need your help. We need your energy healing. I know that you're the only person that can help me do this. And these are people coming back from my past, people that I've had really close relationships with. And then now they're reaching out saying, okay, we know it's you that has to help us. Has anybody else here been having that same experience? Or I would like to hear from other people to see
I had
everybody's
two of my friends over the weekend called me in distress. And they're very, very spiritual people,
Mhm.
but they're not happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy. They've had, actually, I've had three that they've had it with this. It's like we're in a stagnation period. If you're not, only because
Yeah.
the mass consciousness is full of negative
Confusion.
emotion
Yeah. Yeah.
that has been perpetrated on them on purpose. And those that have not done inner work don't know how to fend it off very well.
I know personally for me, I have felt very scattered. I feel like a lot of times my brain feels like it's floating, like it's really just not grounded. I just feel off. That's how I can explain it. Sometimes I feel like a little dizzy, sometimes like a little woozy, or my energy's kind of going back and forth. So I feel like that at times. And I think that is my body's way of saying, hey, you're not focusing on one thing, you're all over the place, because I'm trying to figure out so many things at one time. I was guided to pull another card, you guys, for the collective. And this is the Karen Kay's Oracle of the Fairies. So while you guys are talking, I'm going to shuffle and pull another card and see what fairy wants to come out and give us a divine message today for the collective.
I think going back to what you're talking about too, Rebecca's like, and Amanda, all the being scattered and stuff. The one thing I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, you're not grounded, and she's like, well, yes, I am, but I had to explain what I meant by being grounded, because if you're not spending time out in the sun, if you're not spending time where you're actually touching the ground, because we spend so much time inside and like we don't get on our feet don't touch the ground. Right. And if we're not grounded to the earth, if we're not getting that vibration and alignment with us, then we're through. And I can remember, like, as a kid growing up, a lot of times my great grandmother would say to me, take those shoes off, they're going to make you sick.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I didn't understand, but as an adult, I do now, because that's the whole point. When we wear so many shoes now that have the rubber soles and stuff, you don't get that energy from the earth.
Yeah.
So you're not grounded, you're not connected. And with the ascension and stuff happening, not having that connection, kind of that's where that imbalance can come from. Not being outside, and you don't have to get like hours of sunlight, even 10, 15 minutes of being outside, breathing the air, getting that peace makes a huge difference. And then also remember, we just had a full moon yesterday.
I know.
That's a whole different shift of energy. And it was not even 2 weeks ago, we had the new moon.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Wow.
it's just a lot of different energy.
And I know a lot of us here are searching for answers to a question, and usually there are, whatever your mission is or whatever your soul purpose is, you're trying to figure out what that is. Which brings me to our next card, which is purity. So it says, always trust in the purity of your heart. Look inside your heart, and within it, you will find the answer to your question. I thought, oh, how perfect is that? So here it is. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful angel.
They say only the pure of heart can find God.
Mm-hmm.
It means, if your conscience, you've got rid of fears and negative emotions, you can make the connection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, let's see what else this card says. So it says unicorns are creatures of purity. And with this card, a unicorn joins the fairies to tell you that now is the time to tune into your heart. Whatever your question or situation, look into your own pure heart for the answer. Even if you doubt your ability deep within, beyond ego and mind, a pure heart will reveal its deepest truth and wisdom. When you can fully trust the purity of your own heart's wisdom, you will find that any challenges in life can be approached with a gentle kindness and compassion for yourself as well as others. Perhaps you've found yourself in a situation where the purity of your heart is needed to shed light on challenging circumstances. Sometimes those close to us need our assistance. Your pure heart can help to show the way for them too. This card may also be saying that you're becoming too tied up in your thoughts, but you can transfer the purity of your heart to your mind. The mind will always present a million questions, whereas the heart will always offer a single response. That love is the answer to everything. Know that you can be a flawed human with a pure heart. You don't need to be a saint to do this. Well, that's really interesting. Adam and I were having a conversation a couple weeks ago because I got into energy healing to help people in addiction. And I kept asking him, like, there's so many young people, actually not even young, I mean, all ages that are addicted to fentanyl. And I said, well, you know, what's going on here? Like, we got to see, like, what's the energy behind it? Like, isn't there something we can change? And if I remember, Adam, correctly, you said, well, what good does fentanyl do? If we can find the good, then we can maybe have the answer as to, you know, the bad energy that is bringing up as well. And so we've been just thinking, like, what's the good? What's the good? I haven't found that answer yet, but this card just shows that sometimes when you have so many questions, and I question, and my mind's all over the place, that if I just listen to my heart, that I know that love is the answer always. And we know love is always the answer. But we also want to help people who are suffering at the same time. And how do we do that?
Well, I know that, you know, what you were saying is, you know, when there's something that's bad, it means there has to be the opposite, which is also good. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking yin and yang at the time is really the vision that I got. And so dark side is fentanyl and all the people that's killing, but what's the positive to it? Because there has to be that charge. And it might not be that easy to see, like we can't see it now.
Yeah. But is it
however,
bringing people together, you know, or is it showing more compassion for people? I don't know.
Well, I think, you know, one of the things that as I'm saying it, you know, things are coming to me, downloads, is that it's also showing the mass corruption and how far some of these people are willing to go. And yes, unfortunately, some people are dying over it. However, it's exposing on a lot higher level, more so than anything before, because look at the corruption that's now brought up. We now know the CIA is involved. We now know the FBI is involved. We now know Homeland Security is involved. And certain people in key positions are getting paid off to allow this stuff to flow in. And now we're able to expose it and identify it, and we're aware of it. And it's all of this stuff that they had been controlling for so long. And we're just like, well, it's the war on drugs. It's the war on this. No, it really wasn't. It was, you know, them giving us the illusion that we were trying to solve it. Right. And now we really will solve it, because now we know really who's behind it all and who's allowed it to come in. If you really look at like all of the drugs, especially the drugs, it really didn't start until the CIA and the FBI were formed. There was no drug issues. And if you look back in history, you can see when these agencies were formed on how they became the biggest racketeers in everywhere, bigger than mobs, bigger than the mafia is bigger than anyone. They're just doing it on a global scale. And they go into countries and they rape and pillage everything that they can from these countries. And they're like, do it this way. Otherwise, you know, we're going to, you know, send military in and destroy your country. So I think that's the good side to it. And in that last card with the purity,
yeah,
the Beatles have it right in their song, and love is all you need. Yeah. And I, you know, there's so many times I go back to that song And I don't even know if they really realize what that song, the impact really means, or what people, if they listen to it, really the deepness of that song. And really, when you lead with love with anything, it destroys darkness 1,000 times over. It doesn't matter when you lead with love. It doesn't, everything else just dissipates. So anyways, that's my rambling for today.
Well, and it's interesting that we have these two cards together because we're talking about the higher learning, we're talking the purity, the love, and like what Rebecca said too, is when you're getting back to higher learning, when you're getting back to our creator, which is all love, these two kind of go hand in hand, right?
Well, you know, the other thing about drug addiction, you know, we, in this 3D world, spiritual awakenings usually happen when you've had a terrible, terrible suffering experience. And for many people, they can OD, come back, realize they almost lost it, and wake up.
Yes.
That can be their vehicle, just like alcoholics, you know, they bottom out and then they're saved and reborn. I mean, drugs can do that to people if they have it in them to want to change.
Right.
Yeah, they got to want to change. Can I tell you a good John Lennon story I just heard? Uri Geller was being interviewed. He's the guy that can bend spoons. He's born the same year as me, 1946, Israeli. And one night he said it was 3:30 in the morning. John Lennon called him up. He was in New York City, and so was John at the Dakota. And John said, Uri, you've got to come. You've got to talk to me. You won't believe this. And so he said, all right, I'll meet you in a hotel lobby. I'll meet you halfway. So he met John Lennon. He was all upset. And he handed him this egg-shaped thing that was kind of big. And he said, I want you to have this. You've got to take it. I don't want it around me anymore. He said one night he was in his bedroom and this very tall being came through the door. Didn't open the door. He just came through. He was a very tall alien. And he handed it to John Lennon. And he also told him, you know that song, Imagine, that you wrote? We gave you that idea.
Wow.
And then he went outside. There was a UFO floating down the river near his apartment. Yeah. But he didn't know what to make of it. It freaked him out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, very exciting. Very exciting. And I think we're going to get a lot more messages. I know Pamela and I took a long break of reading cards for the collective, and we want to really start getting back into that because the messages are so needed. I was going to say something else too, but I think my main message here today is connect to a tribe that supports you and can get you to feel. So many people don't love themselves. And I feel like that's where it starts. You have to love yourself. And when you truly love yourself, then you don't really need any, mind altering substances. Unless you're doing microdosing for, spiritual purposes and practices, which that's not what we're talking about here. But, we don't want to numb down the pain and the trauma. We want to release those. So,
well, and even if they're doing the microdosing, if you've never done it before, then you want to do it with somebody who knows what they're doing, right? You don't want to just do it on your own. You want to make sure that you've got someone who's actually been trained or has the experience, and because most of that kind of spiritual stuff, people have gone through the training and they know how to guide you and protect you. And so you don't want to just go out and try something on yourself because someone else said, oh, this is a cool thing. Right?
Yes, I agree with that. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. We're going to close off for today. Eventually, if you want more of this and you want us to pull a card for you, we are willing to do that. I think it's going to be, what did we say, Pamela? Like a $5 charge. You get a card pulled. Of course, if we're guided to pull more for you, we definitely will. But we'll start with one card. So I like to just, when I'm pulling cards for myself, I really never go in with an intention. I like to just get the message that my higher self needs, not one that my subconscious is trying to, or my consciousness is trying to control. So if you guys are, wanting to do that, we are willing to read a card for you. And we'll get all the information down in our description. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll be here next Monday. Have a great day.